Yes.
Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. It's 7:01. I'll read the land acknowledgement statement. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people. We wish to recognize the long history of indigenous people of Canada and show our respect to them today. We recognize their stewardship of the land. May we live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship. Okay, we'll move on to the regular meeting. Could we have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting?
Moved by Robert.
Robert, okay.
Second.
Second.
By Bill.
And Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Any amendments to that agenda?
Seeing none.
Seeing none, we'll approve that agenda as moved by Robert and second by Bill. Anyone have any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature of this evening?
You see none.
Thank you. Okay. We'll ask for a move to adopt the minutes as circulated.
I'll move.
Bill will move. Seconded by Brad.
Bill, second by Brad.
Yeah, Bill moved, Brad second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the minutes of the March 1st, 2022 meeting be adopted as printed and earlier distributed and be signed by the chair and the secretary. Any business arising from those minutes?
See none.
Okay, statement of precedent. Any decision reached by this committee tonight cannot be used to set a precedent. So we move on to our first application for minor variance by A02-2022 by Crown Lee Farms Limited, affecting property described as Lot 26, Concession 4, North Perth, 5491, line 81, Elma Ward. Okay, I'll just read the purpose of the hearings is to give the committee and the public an opportunity to hear all interested persons with respect to the proposed applications and receive their input for the committee to make a decision on the application. All persons attending this hearing will be given an opportunity to be heard or make a presentation. Committee members may ask questions for the purpose of clarifying the application, but are asked to withhold comments on this application until all present have been given an opportunity to be heard. Any person present who wishes to receive written notice of the decision made by the Committee of Adjustment is asked to give their name and mailing address to the Secretary Treasurer at this time. An appeal to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal objecting to the decision made at this hearing may be filed with the Secretary Treasurer within 20 days. No written notice except as previously noted will be given unless requested at this time. Okay. So we'll ask Sean for his input on application 4.1.
Thank you, and good evening, members of the committee. The applicant, that is the property owner, is requesting a variance to the North Perth zoning bylaw provisions to reduce the calculated minimum distance separation to, or MDS2 setback distance, to the nearest neighboring dwelling from 155 meters or 508 feet to 143 meters or 470 feet. This would permit the establishment of a new layer barn for poultry at the proposed location. This is a relief of 11.8 meters or 39 feet. As I mentioned, if approved, the construction of a new layer barn would allow for the replacement of the existing barn on the property in an effort to support new regulations, which would require more space per chicken. The subject property is an interior lot located on the south side of Line 81 and east of Perth Road 154. The applicant is seeking the variance to place the new layer barn 11.8 meters closer than permitted to the residential dwelling located on the adjacent property to the north at 5497 Line 81. This property, the MDS2 calculated setback requires 155 meters from a type A dwelling. And as I noted, the applicant is suggesting 143 meters. The property is designated and zoned agricultural. The property is designated agricultural and zoned the agricultural A zone. So just a reminder, when reviewing an application for a minor variance, the committee must ensure that all four requirements specified under Section 45(1) of the Planning Act are satisfied. This includes that the general intent and purpose of the official plan and the general intent of the zoning bylaw are maintained, that the variance is minor in nature, and that it is considered desirable. Staff feel that these four requirements have been met. Section 553 of the County of Perth official plan states that MDS 2 shall apply in respect to all new development and to the expansion or enlargement of an existing livestock operation. This section also provides that variances to the MDS 2 distance may be approved, provided that the variances are minor in nature, and or provided that the subject building proposal mitigates an environmental impact associated with the subject farming operation. Now, the proposed relief appears to be minor in nature, and it is an attempt to establish a new layer barn, as expressed by the applicant, at the location that would maintain the operational integrity of the current operation, as is noted on the screen here. So the new barn is just at the top left there. The agricultural zone permits farm buildings, including livestock facilities. Section 641, however, requires that livestock facilities to comply with the MDS2 formula. However, as noted, variances to the MDS2 distance may be permitted if it is considered minor. The calculated setback distance to the nearest neighboring house requires 155 meters. This is calculated using the type of livestock, the number of livestock, and how the manure is stored. The applicant is requesting to relocate the barn 143 meters from the closest dwelling. As I noted, this is relief of 11.8 meters. The slight adjustment in location does not appear to create any unacceptable adverse impacts and is considered minor in nature. As such, it is staff's recommendation that the committee approve the application for a minor variance submitted by Crown Leaf Farms. If approved, staff feel that a condition should be included that would require a survey prior to the construction to confirm that the approved distance from the neighboring dwelling has been met. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in opposition to the application? Hearing none.
I believe Mr. Alexander was on earlier.
Yes, I think he is on, and I will give him a chance in a minute here. Is there anyone present who wants to make a presentation and speak in support of the application other than the applicant or his agent? If not, does the applicant have any comments in respect to the application?
No, I have no more to add to what Sean said.
Okay. Any questions from the committee?
I have a question as secretary. If you're going to impose a condition for a survey, I haven't got that included in the sign-off sheet here. on the approval sign-off sheet. Should I just write?
Sorry, are you? Is that directed at me?
Yeah, Sean.
Yes, I would think so, Sean.
Yeah, I think we might want to include that. It should have been included as part of the recommendation, but if it just didn't make it all the way through.
Was that a part of your recommendation?
Yeah, it was supposed to be. It's noted in the application.
Okay.
And I believe their final recommendation included that as well.
All right. I'll
Yes.
write it in here and then initial it, if the committee approves this application.
Yeah, this is just a recommended condition. It's
Yeah, it's in the recommendation here, so we'll make that part of the motion.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Any questions from the committee?
I have one question through you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Robert, go ahead.
The proposed barn and sorting room is quite a bit larger than the existing barn. Understanding that there is a square footage increase in the bird allotment through a MAFRA, is the barn comparable for the population from one barn to the other?
Question directed to me?
Yes, it is.
Okay, the new barn will be able to hold about 3,700 more birds. So it allows me to purchase the more quota that I'm allowed to purchase. Without this enlargement, I couldn't purchase the extra quota I can purchase from the board. So it allows a little bit of growth.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Are we ready for a recommendation?
I'll move the recommendation, Mr. Chair, with the condition of the surveyor to site the barn.
Okay. Robert, seconder?
Brad, seconder.
Brad? Okay. We have a motion moved by Robert McLean, seconded by Brad Gibson, that the committee approve the application for minor variance A02-2022 as submitted by Crown Leaf Farm Incorporated, affecting property described as Lot 26, Concession 4, North Perth, known as 5491, line 81 in the Elma Ward, to reduce the calculated minimum distance separation to MDS2 setback distance to the nearest neighboring dwelling to the north from 171 meters, which is 560 feet, to 153 meters, which is 502 feet, to permit the establishment of a liquid manure storage tank. A survey prepared by a qualified professional is required to confirm the approved distance from the nearest dwelling has been met. All in favor?
Just before we make that vote, you mentioned a liquid manure tank in your summary.
The relief isn't for any liquid manure tank. I might have just been referencing it in part of the section, but I don't believe I spoke to that as having any relief.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, I see where it happened there. I'm sorry. That is a typo. That should be to the layer barn. Excuse me. Thank you for catching that.
So there is an amendment there, Sean?
Yeah, sorry. In the recommendation, it refers to a liquid manure storage tank. Yeah, my apologies. That should not actually. It should refer to the layer barn.
So noted.
Okay. Are we ready for a vote on that motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Approved. Thank you very much, Don.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, we'll move on to new business. I have to scroll through my information here. Okay, application. Four point two, minor application for minor variance known as A03 2022 by Euro Custom Homes Incorporated affecting property described as Lot 1, Plan 44M72, Hutton Street West, Industrial Ward. Sean.
Thank you. The applicant, who is also the property owner, is requesting a variance to the North Perth zoning bylaw provisions to 1, reduce the minimum exterior side yard setback from 6 meters or 20 feet to 3.5 meters or 11.5 feet, and 2, to reduce the minimum interior side yard setback from 1.8 meters or 6 feet to 1.2 meters or 4 feet. If approved, the construction of a single-story, single detached dwelling may be established on the corner lot at the proposed location and would be permitted to encroach into the standard side yard setbacks. The subject lands are identified as Lot 1 of Plan 44M72. This is a vacant lot, and it is located at the southwest corner of Hutton Street and Adams Avenue South. As I noted, this is a corner lot. The property has 18.3 meters or 60 feet of frontage along Hutton Street and an area of approximately 780 square meters or 8,400 square feet. The property is designated residential in the Listowel Ward official plan and is within the residential 4 zone. The proposed single detached dwelling is a permitted use. Now, again, just a reminder, when reviewing an application for a minor variance, the committee must ensure that all 4 requirements under the Planning Act have been satisfied. I won't repeat them, but just to note that. Staff do feel that these requirements have been met. Single detached dwellings are permitted within the R4 zone. However, the applicant is seeking relief from the interior and exterior side yard setbacks to achieve a single-story dwelling with a 2-car garage. Zoning provisions are identified within a zoning bylaw to ensure orderly, safe, and consistent development standards. Setback provisions in particular ensure appropriate area for access and drainage between properties, as well as ensure privacy between neighboring lots and consistency of building locations. Additionally, exterior side yard setbacks contribute to providing appropriate distance between structures and public roads, ensuring little obstruction for oncoming traffic. Lot 1, as I noted, is an exterior lot, which normally requires a greater frontage than, for example, an interior lot, as the exterior property requires a greater setback from the exterior side yard setback. Lot 1 has 18.3 meters of public road frontage along Hutton Street. However, the neighboring parcel to the west, which is Lot 2, is an interior lot and has approximately 18 meters of public road frontage as well. The exterior nature of lot 1 may have been overlooked because typically they would have been designed to have a larger frontage than the neighboring property. However, the frontage does meet the standard requirements of the R4 zone, but as a consequence, the building envelope of lot 1 is significantly less than that of lot 2. As such, the applicant is seeking relief from these 2 provisions to accommodate the proposed dwelling while meeting all other requirements. Additionally, a site triangle is maintained on the property. As such, it is staff's recommendation that the committee approve the application for a minor variance by Euro Custom Homes. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak in opposition to the current application? Hearing none, is there anyone present who wishes to support the application? Next, we will ask Henry if he has any comments.
You're on mute there, Henry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, as Sean mentioned, this relief would allow one of our bungalow designs, 1,800 square foot, to be placed on this corner lot. Also on the street flankage of Adam Avenue, there is no sidewalk proposed, so therefore it would not even feel that close to the road as this bungalow would sit. So this bungalow is approximately 1,800 square feet with a double car garage that I'm proposing to build on this lot. So that building envelope, I would need around that 43 feet width, and only with the reliefs, if granted, would permit me to do that.
Thanks, Henry. Do we have questions from the committee members? No questions?
I have a comment, Bruce, just for clarification.
Yes, Ted.
It may be a moot point here, but the applicant refers to building a bungalow, and the interior yard setback for one-story dwelling in our bylaw requires 1.2 meter setback. So he's asking for 1.2 meter setback that he's already permitted. I didn't know if we should maybe strike that off of if we decide to approve it, or just leave it in there. Again, it is kind of a moot point, but.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
My suggestion would be to strike it out.
Strike it out. Is the applicant okay with that?
Yeah, like on the bungalow, you could actually go down to, I think, 0.9, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think in the bylaw, on the bungalow, on the garage side, I think it has that in the zoning there, but Sean would know better. So that's why that 1.2 was in there.
Okay. Any other comments?
Just one question, I guess, Bruce.
Yes, Brad?
The motion there, does it reference the site plan that was submitted as part of the application? Just wondering if it should be.
No.
Sometimes we do that, sometimes we don't.
It would be probably a time of building permit application. We would just confirm.
Pardon me?
At time of building permit application,
Okay.
we'd make sure that he meets them setbacks if approved.
Good, thanks.
Okay, are we ready for a motion?
Motion by Bill,
Okay.
or just moved by Bill,
I'll second.
seconded by Robert.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion by Bill Gregoriadis, second by Robert McLean, that the committee approved the application for minor variance known as A03 2022 as submitted by Euro Custom Homes Incorporated, affecting property described as Lot 1 of Plan 44M72 Hutton Street West, Listowel Ward. All in favor?
All in favor?
Carried. Okay, we go to item 4.3. Application for minor variance on 3, 4, 5 minor variances here. A04 2022, A05 2022, A06 2022, A07 2022, and A08 2022 by Reed's Heritage Homes, affecting properties described as Block 45, Block 48, Block 50, Block 51, Block 52 of Registered Plan 44M84 Elm Ward. Sean.
Thank you. So yes, as noted, 5 applications for minor variances have been submitted by Baker Planning Group on behalf of the property owner, that is Reed's Heritage Homes. And this is to request relief to permit an increased lot coverage of 55%, where 50% is normally permitted. So Reed's Heritage Homes owns all 5 blocks. So it was decided to group all 5 of them together as they have been submitted together, and the relief requested for each block is the same, which is an increase in lot coverage permission from 50% to 55%. Now, another 4 applications have also been submitted as part of the same package and requesting the same relief, but these are owned by a different property owner. So they were grouped separately from this, and it's the next agenda item. But since the relief is the same for both sets of applications, my summary for this one, and I would assume some of the conversation for this would be quite the same for the next set of applications. So just to put that note there. But first, we can focus on the first 5, which are currently owned by Reed's Heritage Homes. So the North Perth zoning bylaw normally requires 50% lot coverage for lands within the R5 zone. The R5 zone is a common zone for townhouse dwellings. And lot coverage means the portion or percentage of the area of the lot upon which buildings are erected. So if a lot is permitted 50% lot coverage, essentially half of the property could potentially accommodate buildings or structures. And as I noted, this application is requesting 55%, which is an increase of 5%. A planning justification letter, which was prepared by Carolyn Baker of Baker Planning Group, was submitted with the application and is included with the staff report. This letter sufficiently addresses the minor variances for all 9 applications, including the 5 right now, and how the minor variance requests meet the 4 requirements of the Planning Act. The subject lands are currently vacant, and these 5 blocks are part of the first phase of the draft approved plan of subdivision 44M-84, which has also been known as the Dolmetsch subdivision, or the new subdivision in Atwood. Draft plan approval for the subdivision was granted on January 23rd, 2020. The subject lands are within the residential designation and is within the residential 5 zone. As I noted, townhouse dwellings are permitted and are subject to the provisions and requirements of Section 11 of the North Perth zoning bylaw. Excuse me. Sorry, just screen here. Now, provisions of the residential 5 zone or the R5 zone include a prescribed minimum lot area, minimum lot frontage, and minimum yard requirements. However, one of the requirements identified is the permitted lot coverage, which is set at 50% maximum. Section 3.102 of the North Perth zoning bylaw defines lot coverage as the area of lot covered by buildings and structures, excluding overhanging structures which do not project more than 1 meter from the main dwelling, and excluding uncovered swimming pools and decks which are 0.6 meters or less above the average grade. The application for minor variances are requesting to increase the permitted lot coverage to 55% in order to provide approval of the proposed design of the townhouse dwellings normally built by Reed's Heritage Homes. This was noted in the application. Aside from the relief for the lot coverage, all other provisions and regulations of the zoning bylaw would be met. And again, just a reminder that when reviewing an application for minor variance, all 4 requirements specified under Section 45(1) of the Planning Act must be satisfied. Staff do feel that these requirements have been met. Now, lot coverage is established to ensure consistent development standards in the neighborhood, ensure an appropriate level of open space and permeable space, and to accommodate appropriate parking standards on a property. The proposed relief of a 5% increase in the lot coverage does not negatively impact the integrity of the open space requirement or the parking standards, and would maintain a consistent development standard throughout the development as the lot coverage is applied to all our 5 zone blocks of this subdivision. The relief to the lot coverage is a slight increase to the normal requirement, and the proposed development is noted to meet all other provisions of the North Perth zoning bylaw. And the subject lands are located within the residential area of various types of dwellings. Based on the sketches of the proposed townhouse dwellings, which were provided with the application, the relief will not impact the general character or nature of the overall development. As such, it is staff's recommendation that the committee approve these 5 applications for a minor variance as submitted by Baker Planning Group and Reed's Heritage Homes. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation in opposition to this application? Hearing none. Anyone present who wishes to support the application? Anyone present who would like to comment, and the applicant or the agent, any comments they would like to add to the application?
Good evening to the chair. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
It's Caroline Baker from Baker Planning Group, and I apologize that my video is not on. It's not granting me access, and I think that's on my end, so I certainly apologize. As Mr. Yilmaz mentioned, there have been 9 minor variance applications filed. Just to give a little bit of historical context, as mentioned, this was a approved draft plan of subdivision by Dolmetsch Holdings. They have registered the first phase of their subdivision in Atwood and sold it to Reed's Heritage Homes. And that's the reason you see 2 separate applicants listed on the various minor variance applications. I wanted to note that the minor variance is largely a result of the need to allow for the future creation of individual freehold street townhouse lots. If you look at each block of street townhouses, they do actually meet the required lot frontage in the zoning. It's about a 45% lot coverage across the entire block. It is the interior units upon which these individual lots are created that they are slightly over at 55%. Certainly agree with Mr. Yilmaz's conclusion that the minor variances are minor in nature and appropriate. All other provisions are complied with, including a height, off-street parking, setbacks, landscape open space, and amenity area, and will, of course, ensure a consistent street wall and design in the overall subdivision. So certainly I'd be happy to answer any questions of the committee or any members of the public should they have further questions and are on the call. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the committee?
Mr. Chair, I have one.
Yes, Robert.
With the increased lot coverage, has the rainfall or the stormwater management plan been reviewed to be able to accept this increased volume?
If possible to the chair, this is Caroline Baker. I could certainly speak to answer that question.
Sure.
Through the chair, as part of the draft plan of subdivision, there was, of course, overall detailed grading, design, and stormwater management, and these plans are in keeping with the overall assumptions in terms of lot coverage. Further, there is, of course, a requirement for site plan approval in which grading and stormwater is addressed, as well as lot grading plans. So they will be required to meet the overall objectives of the stormwater management report that was approved as part of the subdivision.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. Any other questions? I have a question, Sean. The fact that these are individual ownerships as compared to if the property was under, the total property was under single ownership, the fact that there'll have to be a right-of-way on the back, I suppose on the back of these properties, does that make any difference in the consideration here?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think, yeah, no, once they do come back for the part lot control exemption, at that point they would add those access easements to the rear, and there is sufficient space to include that.
Okay, thanks, Sean. Any other questions? Are we ready for a motion?
Yes, we're ready for a motion.
Okay.
Moved by Brad,
Yep.
seconded by Bill.
Okay. We have a motion moved by Brad Gibson, second by Bill Gregory-Radis, that the committee approve the application for minor variance as submitted by Baker Planning Group on behalf of Reed's Heritage Homes, A04, 05, 06, 07, 08, 2022, affecting property described as Block 45, 48, 50, 51, and 52, registered plan 44M 84 Elmo Ward, to increase the maximum permitted lot coverage from 50 to 55%. All in favor?
All hands shown.
Approved. Thank you very much. Now, moving on to 4.4. I think the story's pretty well the same all the way through, right, Sean?
Yes, that is correct. So these, yeah, this is the same relief requested, same summary. This would apply to the second and third phases of the development, and it would apply to the R5 zoned lots. But yeah, essentially requesting an increase from 50 to 55% lot coverage.
So everything else is a similar situation.
Correct.
Okay, any questions from the committee on this one? If not, I will entertain a motion on 4.4.
I'll move the recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Moved by Robert,
Yep. Thank you. Seconder,
Bill.
Bill?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion moved by Robert McLean, second by Bill Gregory-Radis, that the committee approve the application for minor variances submitted by Baker Planning Group on behalf of Dolmetsch Holdings, A09, A10, A11, 2020, and A12, 2022, affecting property described as part of lot 16, concession 8 of Plan 255, future block 5, 6, 7, and 8 of Plan 44M71 Elma Ward to increase the maximum permitted lot coverage from 50 to 55%. All in favor?
All in favor?
Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on, any other business, Ed?
Yes, under 5.1, I'd like to bring forward an appointment of a vice chair for the Committee of Adjustment. I earlier sent out an email asking for volunteers. I received none. So I guess at this point, I'd like to invite a motion from the floor to appoint a member as a vice chair for this committee.
Oh, can I make a motion on this one, Ed?
You certainly can.
Okay, I would nominate Brad Gibson to be vice chair of the North Perth Committee of Adjustment.
Okay. Anybody here want to second that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Robert. Are there any questions or any questions or a debate on the motion? Are there, I guess I should ask, are there any other motions or any other nominations from any of the members? Pretty quiet. I guess I should ask Brad if he's in favor of accepting the nomination.
Yeah, and talk to Bruce, yeah.
Okay. Seeing there's no questions, I'll call the vote. Those in favor? And those opposed? There's 2 in favor, no opposed.
Okay,
Called,
carried.
motion passed.
Congratulations. Brad, you're now vice chair of the North Perth Committee of Adjustment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thanks, Ed. Okay, we have one more item on the agenda. We had a
Yes.
typographical error in the minor variance application on our meeting on March 1st, known as A15-2021, by Michael Cook and Nancy Bolduc for the construction of a garage. I think maybe you can explain that one a little further, Ed?
Yes, I can. We caught this as we were creating the file. So if you all recall, I think I included the application, all the information. This one was brought forward by Adam, the senior planner for the county. And the recommendation by Adam as part of his package was to allow for an increase of 5.76 meters on the maximum height. And when we did the decision of the committee with reasons, the one that was signed by the committee members here, what had happened is the applicant had originally asked for a lesser number, and then it came in and asked for an increase, and he initialed the increase on the application. We put the original number on the decision, but the committee here approved the higher number. So I talked to Adam on the best way to deal with this, and he thought, just for clarification, we should just bring it back to the committee, just to make you aware. And then I'm just going to circulate another form that was originally signed by the group with the correct height number on it, just so I can have this in our records, and there won't be anything that doesn't look right. I guess when you pull the file out, you see 2 different numbers. So I don't think there's a motion or anything that's required. I think it's just a matter of bringing it up for information. And I think just by recirculating this decision of the committee, and having it signed, I think that would suffice.
Okay, thanks, Ed. Anybody, any questions or concerns with that?
Seeing none. The only other thing I can ask, Bruce, is
Yep.
since you're not in attendance, I have the minutes that need to be signed by the chair and the secretary treasurer.
Can I drop in on Friday, Ed?
Yes, okay. I didn't know
Yep.
if you wanted to have the new vice chair sign them, or I can wait till when you get back.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Either way, but I can drop in on Friday.
Okay, yeah, I'll have one ready for you.
Okay, that sounds great. Anything else to be brought forward this evening?
I have no further correspondence.
Okay, that's good. Well, if that's the case, we'll call for an adjournment. Thank you very much, everybody, for your input and cooperation, and we will probably see